Hey there, friends. This week I wanted to do something a little bit different. This is a video a couple of you have requested in the past. I'm going to show you how I pack for a live scribe or a graphic recording. Hi, I'm Hayley, Chief Doodler at Thoughts Drawn Out. I'm all about getting creativity working so I can help you to make your mark. Okay, so when I am live scribing or graphic recording, I'm usually on site at a conference center or a workshop room or something like that. So I need to have all of my kit packed up and sorted so that I can take it with me and be set up ready to capture the day, whatever that entails. Now, if you're not sure what I mean when I say graphic recording or live scribing, I'll put a photo up here, so just so you can get an idea. It's when I'm in a room with a bunch of people for a conference or a workshop, they're doing their thing, and I am listening, processing, and drawing. Whatever happens, whatever's said, I create a graphic visual summary. Okay, so sometimes I do this digitally, sometimes I do it pen on paper. So today I'm talking about how I prep for pen on paper. So generally I have my case here that I take. I like this silver case because it's flat on top, so it gives me a little work surface depending on where I am in a venue. I don't necessarily have a table or something accessible if I need to write some post-its or just have a flat space for re-inking pens. So it's almost like having a little mini table with me. So I like that. So what goes into the kit? A couple of basics that just kind of live in the bottom here. I have some hand sanitizer, a fairly chunky solid ruler, a protractor for drawing very large circles, some business cards, and my backup glasses in case I forget to take my glasses, because you just get really sore eyes and a headache by the end of the day if you don't have those. So I always kind of keep an old pair in there just in case. Okay, so first things first, I know I'm going to need to be set up somewhere for the day depending on the venue and how it's going to work. I either have a stand for putting my pens in just so that I can really quickly see what color I need, so I'll have that in there. That's not always possible, so I also have my little pen kangaroo pouch so that if I need to, I can wear my pens around my waist and get to them that way. So I'll have both of those options packed up in there depending on what I need. Sometimes there's a table or a whiteboard with a nice little ledge and I don't need those, but they go in. Now, I tend to have two pencil cases. One has my pens, my main set of pens. So these are Newland markers, which means they are ink refillable. So before I pack them in here, I will go through and I will check how much ink is in them, and any that need topping up, I will do that literally before I pack. So I will have done that. So I will have all of my outliners, all of my different colors. It's an example of what an ink refill bottle looks like. I don't take all of my ink with me. I prefer to just get them set up before I go, and kind of that tends, I've never run out of a pen within one day. Having said that, it's a fear that I will, and the one that's kind of at most at risk is the black. So I do tend to take the black ink and just kind of ziplock that just in case it spills anywhere. So I will take that one with me. So pens, number one. Like if I don't have those, I can't do the job. So they have to go in. Then there's a bunch of other stuff that you need as well. And that's what this other case is for. So in here, I will take blue tack so that if I am working on large format paper, I can stick it up onto a wall or a whiteboard. Rubber bands so that when we get to the end of the day and I roll up the poster, I can wrap that up and hand it over. Always have some paper towel for blotting ink if I've overfilled a pen or I need to do some refilling during the day of that black. I do tend to always take some Post-its and just some like disposable pens that I don't care if they go walkabout or go missing. This is great for if there is some rapid fire content and I just need to get it down quick and then I'm going to use a break to get it onto the board. Or sometimes people need to give me content, and so to be able to hand them a Sharpie and a Post-it makes that easier. So I just tend to always have that in my kit. I don't use these a lot these days, but I always take them with me just in case. These are chalk pastels. I love working with them, and they look beautiful in person when you kind of use them to shade, but they don't scan or photograph very well. So I don't tend to use them a lot in my graphic recordings these days. But sometimes I kind of go, you know what, that map I attempted to draw there could really use some shading. And I like to have them there just in case. Now, if I need to cut my paper to size to fit a wall space or a window or a whiteboard, I'll always have scissors or this little kind of cutty blade so that I can do that, because I can't do that before I leave. I have to kind of do it to the space. And then I will always have mechanical pencil, eraser, and smaller ruler. Just if there is little things that I want to make sure that I'm mapping, or like starting with a straight line on a title, that sort of thing. I don't tend to use it a lot for two reasons. Firstly, I hate rubbing out the pencil, so I'd rather not. Secondly, it's just not practical when you are capturing content live in real time. There is no time to do it in pencil and then pen. So once it gets going, it's straight to ink. Just, there is no time for this. Having said that, if I want to make sure I get a nice border line straight, or I want to start with a straight line that I'm going to put a title on before the day's begun, those sorts of things, yes, I will use a pencil for. And that is kind of it. That's the full kit. And then, of course, I'll have my paper or my foam core boards or whatever I'm drawing on in addition. And then I'll have my case and my paper, and that's pretty much it. That's what I'm taking on site with me. Oh, actually, no, there is one other thing. I will usually have the agenda. If it's a conference, they'll have an agenda, a run plan, so that I can be following along, so that I'm getting the titles correct for the sessions, I'm spelling people's names correctly. Sometimes I will have done some pre-work with them around a particular style that they're looking for, or a color pattern, or this might be one of a series of events and I want to keep copies of the previous ones with me so that I'm making sure I'm keeping themes alive, that sort of thing. So there'll always be a printout of at least an agenda, if not some pre-work concepting. And I like to have that on paper because it's just one less thing to think about if it's on an iPad that I need to keep charged, for example. I don't want to have to worry about that. If I'm kind of going lo-fi, if I'm going old school, I'm going to keep it all old school and I'll have that printed. As you can see, it also becomes a great place to refill ink, test pens. This particular one was done with paint pens, so there was a lot of kind of, getting those pens working. So having a little bit of paper in the kit makes that a lot easier. Other than that, I will have myself, whatever I need for the day, and I try to always take a water bottle with me as well. I mean, most conferences and things are going to have water, but sometimes that's in the format of jugs on tables that aren't where I'm standing and working. So, sometimes that might mean having to wait until a break. So I just try to always have a bottle of water with me as well. I just find that, makes it easier for me. Again, one less thing to have to worry about on the day. So the only other thing I do sometimes chuck in is a little bit of painter's tape, just as an option for sticking paper to walls or windows. Every now and then there'll be a venue that's funny about you using blue tack. They don't like you using blue tack. Mostly they can't argue with painter's tape. So I just always have some of that in the kit too, just on the off chance that the blue tack is not going to fly. Okay, so that's it. That is what I pack in my kit for a graphic recording or a live scribe. I hope you found this interesting. If you've got other questions, I'd love to hear them. Comment below. I'll provide you with an answer. So we've made it to the end, folks. You know what that means. It's time for you to get out there and make your mark.